So what we have here is your question type. So if I want to put a question in there, I'm just going to call this question. No, we'll start with name. So we'll do first name. And for this, we need to make sure that the question type here is what we want to relates to what we want to choose. So what we need. So in our case here, we just want text. We don't want anything else. So we'd look at here, we've got a choice of text or paragraph text. Now obviously the difference is how much text people can write in that box. If I show you text to start with, you'll see a little box. If we do paragraph text, you'll see their answer is a lot longer. So text is a short answer for things like names, date of birth, and a paragraph text might be something like an address, for example, or comments that you might need to put in there. So if we just do text, their first name, and help text basically appears underneath the question title. So if you've got quite a complicated question, you need further explanation, you might put something here. So we'll just demonstrate this and say show first name. Enter first name. And under here, before we press done, there are advanced settings that you possibly won't need to use, but there are things like data validation. So you might need this if you need a date, for example. But for now, we'll leave that, and if we want to put a required question, that means that if you've ever seen a form and it's got a red asterisk, that means you need to fill this in. So that will mean they cannot actually submit the form without filling this question in. That's always useful if you've got things like maybe information like first name, surname, where you need to be able to collect their name, or an email address because you need to be able to contact them and respond to it. But it might not be as useful for something like a comment box where you don't necessarily need the comments, it's just additional. Obviously we want them to put their first name in, so we'll press required question and then we'll go to done. Okay, so what you'll see now is obviously you'll see our first question's been done, and you'll see that it's got, like I said, the red asterisks where they have to put the information in. Now if, for example, we want to change this and we don't actually want that enter first name help part underneath, we can just click it and we can just delete it. So this then, when you click the actual question, it opens it back up to edit again, and we can click done again, and as you can see it goes away. The other way to do this is to be able to press the edit button. You can do the same way. For example, if we want another one of these questions, we can just simply duplicate it here and it'll bring up another one exactly the same. So for this one we want to put, I don't know, last name, and then click done. And you can see now but both of our questions, they're both required. Now if I want to change that to not a required question, untick it, press done, and you'll see the asterisk has gone. Okay, so if we want to add a different type of question, we can go add item, and we can change that there to a piece of a multiple choice, and you'll see multiple choice has got the option 1, option 2, so they can only choose from one option. So just to make that clear, obviously if they choose option 1, they can't then choose option 2 or option 3, they have to choose one of them. The checkbox is similar, but they can choose multiple options, so they can choose option 1 and, for example, option 2. You could have a list option, which means it has a drop down, so option 1, option 2 would look like this kind of drop down button, like this. We have a scale between 1 to 5, so so if you've got a value from best to worst, how good do you think your time here was, for example, on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. You've then got a grid you can also create, a date, which could include a year and the time, and you can choose the time and date from either from the drop down here as in month, day, and that will come up in a little picker, and you have a time option as well you can put in there. So for your next one we might choose multiple choice, and we can use option 1, just option 2, option 3, option 4, and then we could put, I don't know, for example, how long have you been studying at Warwickshire College? And we could put then, option 1 would be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or other. And we can add another there. So for example, if they've only been with us for 3-4 months, we could add another. And they can put their answer in there. So if they want to put, I don't know, 3 months, for example. And we can press done on that. So once we've completed, press done. And you can see there is now the option to be able to press to choose 1, 2, 3, 4 or other. And if we do need to see how this looks at any point, there is an option to view the live form. So we can click here and view the form. And you can see you can answer all these questions in like a person would do. And you see how the required question goes red if you don't actually put anything in there, but our other questions don't. Like I said with our multiple choice, if you press 1 and then I try to go and press 3, it will change. And other, obviously I can put my value in there, 6 months. Ooh. 6 months. My name, Chris Watson. And then once I've done it, I can press submit. So this is what your person that is your respondent filling out the form will say. Submit. And if I just close this, and what you'll see is when I see responses, you've now got 1 there. And if we view those responses, you can see I'm actually in here. So each question has a part here, and you'll get a timestamp of when they've actually filled it in. Column that says first name, last name. Yes, so this is how you'll see the responses in the form. So if I close that, there is one other way you can see responses, and like I said, remember there was a summary version. If I click summary of responses, you'll see a nice little couple of charts. So how many responses, how long you've been at Warwickshire. So this will be a pie chart with obviously lots of others if people fill out different values. And the only other thing I'd like to add to this is the arrow next to add item. You'll see there are options that aren't necessarily in the add item question type. You could actually add a page break, so you can break up the pages into multiple. So if you want 1 or 2 pages to carry on, or 3 pages, so the person can go section by section if it's quite long. A section header, so the name. So for example, if you've got part 1 that might be called personal details, and part 2 that you want to call information about the college, part 3 other details. You can see here I'll do part 1, I'll show you how it works. Part 1, and you can see there's a heading there, very similar to the way your title is laid out, and you can do multiple of these. If I just want to delete that, and we go to the drop down, and you'll also see here we've got the option to put an image in there and a video. So you might want to put the logo of the college in there, for example, or a how-to video, so how you'd like to do something. And that really finishes all the forms, the information for the forms. There are lots of ways you can create things within forms, and the best thing to do is give it a go.